So this is a little crazy. In 2017, I had a simple niche site and it made $70,000. My name is Doug Cunnington. I'm the founder of Niche Site Project, and I talk about Amazon affiliate marketing, internet marketing in general, and project management because I'm a project management professional. Let me tell you about this site. So this site made $70,000 in 2017. For some set of people, it's enough money to live for a couple of years. For other people, it may not be able to replace their full-time income or provide for their full household. But regardless, for most people, 70K, that's a good chunk of change. Now, let's rewind. Let's look at 2016, and I want you to see the growth that we had there. So this site made $100 in January of 2016, and by the end of 2016, December, the site made almost $15,000. I think it was like $14,800 or something like that. So pretty solid. And I shot a couple other videos where I explained what I did in the year of 2016, but basically I added a lot of content. I added about 200 articles that were keyword golden ratio compliant. And if you're unfamiliar with the keyword golden ratio, it is a data-driven way to find keywords that other people aren't targeting. It's literally like the supply and demand of keywords. It's a mathematical formula, and it's deeper than what we're talking about today, so definitely be sure to check out the link in the description to learn more about the keyword golden ratio. There's actually a playlist that sort of walks you through the process. I go through a demo and everything, so check that out. At a high level, you use a specific search in Google. It's called the AllinTitle. So in the Google search bar, you type in AllinTitle : and then you type in your search phrase, right? So let's say it's like best ballpoint pen for journaling, something like that. You type in AllinTitle : best ballpoint pen for journaling, no quotes, nothing like that. Just type it in and it'll give you the number of results that have that phrase in the title. Hence the name AllinTitle. So it's pretty easy to do that search, but finding keyword golden ratio content is a little more difficult because the next step is you take that AllinTitle and you divide it by the local monthly search volume. The local monthly search volume should be under 250, and you want the ratio to be 0.25 or less. So you want the KGR, keyword golden ratio, to be below 0.25. So I added a whole lot of that content, 200 posts or so, and that was over the course of 5 months. I invested, right? I spent about $4,000 on that content, but as I mentioned, the revenue went up from $100 in January to almost $15,000 in December. Obviously, it was a good investment, and I was able to essentially reinvest the earnings, reinvest the revenue into the content, so I never had to outlay the cash. Specifically, I just reinvested into the site. Now, fast forward to 2017, you can see the graph here where earnings were pretty consistent, at least $4,000 a month, and it got higher as we got to the retail season. You will notice in March, there is a drop, right? So the thing that happened then is Amazon changed their commission rate structure. So everything with a commission rate changed, and just at a high level, my commissions went down by about 34% or so, by 1/3. So that is the reason the earnings went down a little bit, and there's nothing we could do about that. Amazon had to make a business decision, and we're working within the ecosystem. I'm grateful to be able to do it, so if they made the adjustment, it's something I have to work with. Luckily, I kept adding content and was able to keep increasing the revenue. So that said, when we look at how much the site was earning, so you can see the 2016 and 2017 earnings, when we look at the expenses, we do have a couple things to consider, right? So a lot of times you will see people say they're making $20,000, $30,000 a month top line revenue, but it's really important to understand your expenses. Top line revenue is certainly interesting, but if you're spending, a huge chunk of change, your margins could be low. This is actually one of the reasons why I love the affiliate program from Amazon or, any other place. But if you are doing like a physical goods business, like an FBA business that's fulfilled by Amazon or drop shipping or something, your margins are going to be lower because you're actually buying like physical stuff. But with the Amazon affiliate program, most other affiliate marketing, your margins are really high. So here are the expenses in 2016. I spent about $4,000 on content, and in 2017 I spent about $6,000 in content. The other big thing that you have to consider is hosting. So as my site was growing, I was getting more and more traffic, over 1,000 visitors a day, sometimes up to 3,000 visitors per day. That sort of traffic needs to have better hosting than the cheapest package that you can get, right? So at some point I realized my site was a little slower, sometimes it would crash, so I knew I needed to upgrade my hosting. So that said, I upgraded my hosting when I got about, say, 1,200 to 1,500 visitors a day. I upgraded my hosting so I was paying a little bit more, actually a considerable amount more. So I was paying about 25 bucks a month, and I went up to 125 bucks a month. I kind of look at the pricing packages because each hosting company they have a different offering. So if you look at what you're paying and you look at, other companies, then you can sort of make a decision based on the price points. So I find that when you start out, maybe you're only getting a few hundred visitors a day, you're on a shared hosting plan, then you can move up to what they call like a semi-dedicated hosting plan where you're maybe paying 25 bucks a month. And I would say that's probably good from 300 visitors a day to about 1,000 or 1,200 visitors per day. And then once you're getting, more than that, say 1,200 or more, you'll probably need to move over to a hosting plan that maybe you're paying $100 to $150 a month. And I would hope if you're getting that much traffic, you're able to monetize it, and that is, just the price of doing business, because you obviously need to be able to serve the website. You need a stable environment. So it's definitely worth it to upgrade the hosting. That is one of the big expenses that a lot of people don't talk about. Over the past 2 years, I've invested about $10,000, and the site has obviously made way more than the $10,000. When we look at 2017, that means the profits are still, well over, $60,000. Again, that's pretty good for business that I only spent a couple hours a week on. Let me go over the details of the site with you. So a lot of people ask about, how I have certain things set up and stuff like that. So I'll tell you about it here. Now, I won't reveal the site. That's just not my style. I've seen too many of my friends get their sites hit with negative SEO and just have basically a bad outcome with any sort of public case study. Other people do share their sites, and if you're interested in that sort of thing, check them out. I know that the income school guys share their sites. So if you're interested in that sort of thing and you want to see examples, you can, look at their case studies. As I mentioned, I publish a pretty good amount of content on the site. There are over 300 posts on the site. How long are the posts, you may be thinking? They're about 1,000 words each for most of them. However, there's a small percentage, probably about 10 or 15 of them that are much longer. They are anywhere from 2,000 words to 15,000 words. If you are thinking no one's gonna read 15,000 words, you could be right, but it turns out from an SEO perspective, it's actually a very good thing to have a lot of words on the page, a lot of images and captions. The more words you have on the page, the more opportunities you have to rank for long tail keywords. So for the most part, most of the articles are 1,000 words or so. There's just that small subset where larger search volume term, and I know I need more content there, or maybe it just happens to be a post where there's a lot of information available and a lot of products, and I found that adding more words there can be helpful. The other part is how much traffic is the site getting per day, per month, and that sort of thing. So on average, it varies, right? So most of the year, the site's getting 1,000 to 1,500 visitors per day. Over the retail season, that's sort of the second half of November to December, the site's getting, up to 3,000 visitors a day. It really kind of explodes at that point in time. When we look at the revenue from November to December and we compare it, most of the time, and I've talked to, several of my peers and friends who run sites as well, most of the time we see that the revenue in December is about 2 to 3 times greater than November. So if you have a site, you could kind of gauge how much your site's gonna make in December by the earnings in November. Now, it always varies. There's so many different factors that play into it, but it can give you a pretty good idea. And I encourage you to, look at your historical earnings each year, and then that'll give you a better idea for your specific site, what happens from November to December, and then even January. So if you're interested in learning how to build one of these sites yourself, here are the 4 main steps. These are high level, and if you want to learn more, definitely check out some of the stuff on the channel and consider subscribing. I put out new material all the time, and take a look at some of the playlists. I'll put some in the description, since for each one of these steps and concepts, I could talk for hours on each one. First part, you have to pick a niche. When you pick a niche, you need to make sure that people are actually searching for it and that it's actually profitable. If you get this part wrong, if you pick the wrong niche, you're kind of screwed, right? There's no way you could recover if you pick the wrong niche, say if people aren't searching for it or there's no products to be sold or no monetization method, then you can't do anything about it. Even if you do everything else perfect after that, you're gonna have an issue. The second part is creating the site. So you'll need to get a hosting package, get a theme. Most people build on WordPress, but if you are a coder of some kind or a designer and you like to use some other CMS out there, content management system, or if you just want to code in HTML, you could do that. However, WordPress is super easy, and if you're trying to do Amazon affiliate marketing, it's best to focus on the marketing part, not the design or coding or whatever. So I would just advise you, just get a hosting package, use WordPress, and move forward. You need to spend your time on the marketing part. Once you have your site set up and you have a theme and it looks nice and everything, then you publish content. I recommend starting small. Now, a lot of people will tell you to go the big model. You don't want to have a small micro site, but I say they're making a big mistake, and they recommend to publish like 50 or 100 or 200 posts, which is really hard. Even if you have like unlimited resources and all the money that you need to have that published, it's still hard to say hire writers, pull together all the content, get it published. It's not just a slam dunk. And if you outsource all that stuff, there's a lot of work just in the administration and like sending emails back and forth. Like I said, even if you had unlimited resources, it's not easy to publish 200 articles, for example. So I recommend to start and launch with 10 posts. That's it. Just 10, 50% of it, so 5 articles should be affiliate reviews where you talk about a product and recommend it. Those are the ones that you can think of as like money articles. And the other 5, the other 50% should be how-to or informational content. You want to have the blend. Amazon wants you to have like a regular sort of blog where you're not just publishing affiliate and advertising content, but you're also providing value to the community at large, the niche community that is. You're providing a site that people actually want to read. So if you just have like really aggressive sales content, Amazon's not going to like that. In fact, you may not even get approved to the program if that's all you have. So make sure you do 50-50, but don't go crazy. Just publish 10 pieces of content to launch. After you have your site launched, you have your 10 pieces published, then you need to promote your site. You need to get traffic to your site. The primary goal is to get organic SEO traffic from Google to your site. Yes, there are other search engines, but the majority of it is through Google. So I would recommend just focusing on Google traffic, even though there are other search engines out there. That said, the main thing that you could do to rank well in Google is to have good on-page SEO, which I have like a checklist that I'll refer to another video below in the description. But basically you want to have your keyword in the title. You want to use the keyword in the first paragraph or so, like the first 100 or 200 words. You want to have some images on the page that have a file name, which is keyword rich. You don't want to stuff the whole article with keywords. That's kind of an old school SEO tactic, like a decade old, that doesn't work anymore. So don't do that. You'll want to have like a naturally written, helpful article that solves the problem of the visitor. The other portion of SEO is to have backlinks. And there's 2 main areas that I want you to focus on if you're trying to get backlinks: blog commenting and guest posting. So I like to keep things simple. That seems to be the most effective way where you can sort of stand out from your competition. So if you find blogs in your niche, comment on them, build relationships with those bloggers, and then in the future, say after you've made contact with them, maybe like 3 weeks to like 2 months, you can ask them if maybe you could guest post on their site. What you don't want to do, and what a lot of people do, is they just send an email and they ask if they can guest post on someone's site. that can work sometimes, but really it's kind of aggressive and pushy and you're not making any friends. If you comment on people's blogs and have some correspondence with them first, you're kind of making like internet friends with them, and that's a good thing to do because you're building a relationship. And basically, those are the 4 main steps. Now, those are high level, and if you do want to learn more, definitely check out some of the playlists that I've placed in the description. Again, have a look around, check out some of the other videos. If you like what you see, please subscribe. I put out new content all the time. Actually, on Fridays, I usually do a Q&A. So if you have questions, be sure to hop on the live Q&A and I just answer your question. Here's the question of the day. What would you do if you had a site that was making $70,000 a year? How would it change your life? Would you be able to, say, take more vacations, pay off debt, eat out more often? Maybe you could pay off your house early. Let me know in the comments below. Just curious about, what you're into and what you would do with an extra $70,000 per year. Thanks for watching the video. Again, I'm Doug Cunnington from Niche Site Project.